Hello everybody, it's a new week here on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. It's your number one tennis betting podcast and YouTube show brought to you in association with Bet Rivers. Not only is it your number one tennis betting podcast, it's also your number one winning betting tennis and podcast after last week's start to the 2026 season. The man I'm just about to introduce you to, Sean Calvert, was absolutely in scintillating form. And we start the year with a bang, with lots and lots of plus money winners. That's what we like to see. Sean, hello, mate. How are you?
Not great, to be honest. Bit of, as far as the tennis is concerned, yeah, fabulous. But yeah, I've got like. Remember, I said last week I was expecting to get a cold off that plane. That bloke that was sitting behind me with his horrible snuffling and coughing, and I thought I'd got away with it, but it turns out I haven't. So, first cold in about a year. So I'm not feeling 100%. So if I start stumbling and sort of choking halfway through this, then that's the reason. But other than that, I'm all right, mate. Thank you. Yeah.
Grow a pair, Mr. Calvert. The whole of the UK have got it. Come on, we've had it for 6 weeks.
I don't get colds. People are more used to getting them than I am because they do. They go on the trains and the buses and offices and all that
sit in this room all day long. I've had it for 6 weeks since Christmas. Done about 30.
You're hardier than
me.
My voice. I'm not hardy.
Come on.
Not hardy at all.
No sympathy from Mr. Seeley, but you have got lots of praise and you have got a round of applause from the whole host of people who followed you in last week on what was a great week. I mean, what a start to the year that was.
Yeah, it is. It's really nice to get off to a good start, isn't it? Because you're not playing catch up and. We're ahead of the game, and yeah, it's always pleasing when you go on a nice run. But this is a new week. I'm just going to try and consolidate and maybe try and match it. Yeah,
a new week. There is two 250 events this week, one in Adelaide and one in Auckland. We're going to start with a tournament in Adelaide, and we look at some matches and the outright market as well. Before we do that, Sean, I just want to. I said the same question to Tim Dennis yesterday on the WTA show, who also started off in great form, by the way. He had the two tournament winners, and he got 2 of his 3 match bets won as well. So across the network, the channel on tennis it's been a great start. I did ask the question yesterday. It's like motivation. The week before the major, obviously the Australian Open starts next week. It's unlike any other major in the tennis season where you go bang straight into it. What do you think about this sort of for people who have not really many people in this sort of got a realistic chance of winning the Australian Open, but that must be on the players' minds.
Yeah, it kind of depends. If you're looking at someone like Nakashima, who's had that, I'll talk about him in a minute, a really long week in Brisbane, are you going to want to go again this week, right before, like literally days before the Australian Open? But there's other players that lost in the first round last week that will want 3 or 4 matches. That's my job to try and pick out the ones that are potentially motivated and the ones that, might think, I can just sort of chill a bit here. So, yeah, it's not quite the same as last week. I talked last week about the motivation. If you'd have just gone with that instead of what I went for, you would have done pretty well. I said Bublik had to get to the final to get into the top 10. That was his goal. Not only did he do that, he won the tournament. And, I said Nakashima had to beat Davidovich and win a couple more matches to get into the top 32. He did that as well. So, yeah, the motivation that last week was to do with the rankings. Obviously, that's gone now. You've just got to take it case by case and try and figure out their little habits. And that's my job.
Well, before we go on to the matches and the outright market, Sean has come across some key trends to us find a winner. But before I do that, Sean, what are the conditions like? What's the weather like? What are we looking at? What court speeds? What are the conditions like over in Adelaide?
Yeah, it's not quite as fast as Brisbane. It's played on the same green set surface as all these pre-AO tournaments are. The same balls, Dunlop AO. Players have said it's quick, low bouncing, but statistically, it doesn't seem as quick as Brisbane. The only stats that are relevant really are the ones since they started using these Dunlop AO balls in 2023, and that shows you 81% hold, 73.4% first serve points won. It's not as quick as Brisbane if you're looking at it in that way, and tie breaks as well. Only 35% of the matches have featured a tie break. So, lively conditions, but not as fast as Brisbane. If you look at the over 10.5 games in set one, only 28% of those have gone over 10.5 in set one since they started using these Dunlop AO balls. You would want odds of plus 257 if you were betting over 10.5 games. So again, just feels like it's not as quick as Brisbane. As far as underdog winnings are concerned, it's bang average for the tournament. 33%, but round one is the best round for your underdogs, 38% that averages.
There you have the conditions. Though, what are the trends? These are the three key trends that Sean has told us to look for. The qualifiers made it at least the quarterfinals in 5 of the last 6 editions. 3 of the last 5 winners have been priced between 20-1 and 33-1, and the number 1 seed has only made the final once in the last 5 editions. So number 1 seeds are a fade. So, Sean, what else have you got for us?
So as far as the weather's concerned, it's not going to be that hot, actually. About between 24 and 28 degrees centigrade all week. Quite windy as well. I'll talk about wind a bit more in Auckland, but 15 to 20 mile an hour winds all week. That's pretty strong wind. So, yeah, not massively hot, kind of coolish, cool to sort of average as far as the heat's concerned, but the wind does look a little bit strong.
So they're the conditions, they're the trends. This is the all-important draw. If we look at the projection of the draw, we'll give you the draw first. Let's look at the previous winners first. Last year, Felix Auger-Aliassime won it, runner-up Sebastian Korda. In 2024, Lehechka won. Kwon Sun Woo won it in 2023. Also in 2020, Novak Djokovic was obviously COVID time. Stanislas Kokkinakis won it in 2022, and Gael Monfils won it in 2022. And prior to that, Andrei Rublev won it in 2020. So as you can see, not many number 1 seeds did well. And the number 1 seed this time around is Alessandro Davidovich-Fokina. I can't imagine him doing much, looking for his first the ATP Tour winner win tournament. Let's have a look at the draw. Top half of the draw, Davidovich-Fokina will be scheduled to play Vachereau, obviously the man who broke onto the scene last year. Greek Sport, the number 4 seed, will play Brandon Nakashima, the number 6. That is your top half. In the bottom half of the board, Mahak will play Surundaru. An informed Stefanos Tsitsipas will play Tommy Paul. But obviously there are some dangerous floaters in and around those who may not, I'll be very surprised if the 8 players get through to the quarterfinals. One thing worth noting, the top 4 seeds all get buys through to the second round. So Davidovic will already through to round 2, which is the last 16. Greek Sport through to the round 2. Surundaru through to round 2, and Tommy Paul also progresses to the round of 16. So that is your draw. These are your odds with Bet Rivers. Davidovich-Fokina, the number 1 seed, is plus 550. Tommy Paul, your number 2 seed, is $6. Talon Greek Sport plus 650. Brandon Nakashima, big week last week for him, broke into 28 in the world, I think career high, plus $7. Surundaru, $8.50. Stefanos Tsitsipas, I spoke to Short off air. He's 3-0 at the United Cup. Could this be the time to get with the Greek? He's $9. Mahak is 11. Sebastian Korda, 12-1. Valentin Vachereau, 18. Popperin, 20. Munar, 22. Diallo, 25. Opelka, 25. Kekmanovic, 28. And 40-1, bar those leading contenders. Mr. Calvert, Davidovich-Fokina, never won an ATP Tour event. Can't imagine him winning this one. Tournament favourite, number 1 seed, not for me. Where is the value in this draw? What are we looking at?
I mean, he might win it, but plus 650 is similar position to last week when, I gave a case for Bublik, but he was 3-1, wasn't he? You've got to have some value, particularly a week before a major. I mean, Davidovich-Fokina, as I said, never won a tournament before, tends to find a way to lose. He'll win one day, I'm sure. But you want it to be a bigger price. I can't imagine him coping well with being the favourite. A number 1 seed, knowing everything that we know about Davidovich, that doesn't seem like a good situation for him to me. Tommy Paul hasn't completed a tournament since last summer. Early last summer. He's one that I talked about. People needing matches. He'll definitely want matches, but we don't know where he's at. He managed to lose one he should have won against Mpechi Pericard last week. Too rusty, and he's had too much time off for me to bet him at that price. Greek Sport, he hasn't been in form for quite a while. I've got a theory about him opposing him anyway. Nakashima, I'll talk about him again in a minute. It doesn't seem likely that he would want to go back-to-back weeks, just days before a major. Surundaru is anybody's guess at any point. Again, he's a player that I'd rather take at a big price in a bigger tournament to win the quarter or each way. He's not someone that you really want to be betting at short prices. Tsitsipas is a fair option, I think. Just a bit short in price for me. As you said, he's come back to form in the United Cup, changed his racket, gone back to his old racket after a bit of experimentation last year with the strings and the frame and all sorts of stuff. And he had a lot of back issues. He says he's fit now, but he was talking about being tired after that. I can't remember which United Cup match it was. It might have been Fritz. I can't remember. But towards the end, he said he was feeling really fatigued. That was only one singles match. Hasn't gone deep in a tournament for a very long time because of the back problems that he's had. Similarly, Thomas Mahak, he would appeal. If you're looking at the quarters, he's in Q3 there. If they were all fit, you would probably lean towards Mahak in these conditions. But again, not fit at all last season. Retired, withdrew many, many times. Struggled again with fitness against his compatriot Lehechka last week. Cramps. He seems to have an issue with cramps. He keeps talking about. He's not sure why. Then we're moving on to another guy who's not fit, Sebastian Korda. Withdrew from the doubles in Brisbane last week, having played a couple of matches in singles. He hasn't been able to complete a tournament for a very long time. Does have a good record here, but again, fitness would put you off, and then you're into the double figure prices.
You would think your preview there was of the last tournament of the season. This is week number 2.
Yeah,
You've been through all the leading contenders. They're all injured.
Well, they're either injured or coming back from injuries, or still carrying some sort of condition. Yeah, it does seem a little bit crazy, but Davidovic Fokina's not injured. I just think he's too short, considering he always manages to find a way to lose. I have got 2 really big price ones in the top half of the draw here, actually.
Well, come on in. We want to hear them. Come on.
I don't know whether you wanted to talk about something else first.
No, I'm joking. I want to hear the tips.
Okay, so you're not going to like one of these. He's not a friend of yours.
Let me have a look. You're going for not Ugo and Bear again.
No. Although he probably will win because I bet him last week, so that invariably means he wins the week after.
Kekmanovic.
Yes, Kekmanovic. 28-1, I think, is big. Again, he's a player you wouldn't want to be betting at single figure prices, short prices, but 28-1, he's more than capable of winning a 250. He's one that needs matches. Had a round 1 loss last week that I did tip up, actually. Muller beat him last week. He made the semi-finals a year ago. Kekmanovic lost to the aforementioned Korda in the semi-finals, but it's just the way that the draw is here. Korda, I don't think he's fit enough to complete the tournament. It doesn't seem to be. As I said, retired in Brisbane, and Kekmanovic has a 4-0 head-to-head against Davidovic Fokina. So I don't. He should beat Vachereau. For me, I think Vachereau is much more effective in slower conditions. Kekmanovic is actually a slight dog against Vachereau, which is interesting as well. If he beats Vachereau, he'll probably get Davidovic Fokina again. As I said, 4-0 head-to-head. Then you're into the sort of quarterfinals, semi-finals territory. And there's not too many players there that would really worry me. Nakashima I talked about, can't see him going deep again. So I think that's a good price, 28-1. Bearing in mind, looking at all those players on the left that I've basically ruled out as no value, I think Kekmanovic is decent at 28-1. The second one's an even bigger price, Fucsovic 40-1. This is the week before a major. You've got to kind of bear that in mind. Fucsovic won the last hard court 250, which was played the week prior to a major in Winston-Salem. Also won Geneva the week before a major. It was a few years ago, but he's not shy of winning tournaments the week ahead of a Grand Slam. And his draw looks good. He's favourite to beat Ethan Quinn in the first round, should win that. Then, as I said, potentially this fatigues Nakashima if he even makes it that far. Nakashima's achieved his goal of being in the seedings now. You've got to worry about what he wants to do this week. And again, it's very good head-to-head, 4-0 Fucsovic against Griekspoor. So if Griekspoor makes it to that stage, you would fancy Fucsovic to knock him off as well. So I think 40-1 is decent. I think you have to take a decent price one here. As I said earlier, 3 of the last 5 winners have been priced between 20 and 33-1. So those 2 fit the bill for me.
So there are 2 picks. Fucsovic at a massive 40-1 and Kekmanovic at 28-1. Good reasoning for Sean as well. I think we could have a good week from Stefanos Tsitsipas.
Quite possible.
I think 9-1 is a little bit short. If I can get double, it just looks like, if Tsitsipas gets back to his best, he's a $2.50 favourite in this, or $3 favourite in this field. I just like what I see from him. I like the attitude of him at the United Cup.
He looks better.
I think Tsitsipas could go quite deep here. So, I mean, hopefully he's fixed. I like watching Tsitsipas play. But there are 2 big price picks from Sean. Sean, are we going to go for the quarter point each way rule? Or we can stick with the quarter point each way?
The other thing to mention is that the bottom half has got all 4 qualifiers to go in it. The top half is complete. The bottom half is nothing like complete, which is why I've kind of avoided it a little bit.
Is there any decent qualifiers you could go in it?
There is, but obviously it's still to play. We don't know who's going to get there. It's complete guesswork. But Tsitsipas would face one of those qualifiers. Diallo would face one of those qualifiers. So I think that bottom half is messy. I think it's very difficult. I don't trust the fitness of Mahak. I don't trust the fitness of Tsitsipas. Cerundolo, who knows what he's going to do. And Tommy Paul, as I said, hasn't completed a tournament for a long time. So the bottom half is tricky. That's why I've gone top half.
Top half, 2 plays, 2 nice prices with BetRivers. Download the BetRivers app. Get those prices now. And the action starts the early hours of Monday morning. I think the first match on court is actually tonight. It's 11 p.m. tonight Eastern time, but the majority of them are in the early hours of Monday morning. So make sure you get your bets on nice and early on those 2 picks. We have some matches for you. And this is where we got the cash last week. 6 matches. 6 winners, 5+ money shots, all underdogs, all cashed. This time around, we're going to start off with the tournament the first match we're going to talk about is an Aussie in Adelaide. It's Tristan Schoolkate up against Rinky Hijikata. Hijikata is the favourite at BetRivers. He's minus 186. Schoolkate is plus 148. Spread is 2.5. Total here is 23.5. Both of them, I don't think they've played before. Have they? Let's have a look. Have they played before? No, never played. Oh, I've got one.
One time ages ago,
in a futures back in
on
the day.
clay, I think.
Yeah, well, technically they haven't played. Hijikata had a good week last week, made it through to the round of 16 where he pushed Mpechi Perigard close, but he come through qualification. He's played a challenger event as well, played a lot of tennis at the end of last year, and he's come into this one. He's in the other one. Schoolkate, on the other hand, is not in great form, got beat by Duckworth in qualification in Brisbane, but he will have that home support behind him. He's higher ranked, Schoolkate, as well. Rinky Hijikata is just outside the top 100, and Schoolkate is in the top 100. What's your thoughts on this one, Sean?
Yeah, I think this is just being priced upon very recent form. I think there's some very good value on Schoolkate here. If you look at the last 12 months at main level on all surfaces, Schoolkate 43% win rate, service points won and return points won total of 97.4. Pretty decent for a player ranked where he is. Hijikata, 29% win rate and a total of 94, so way down. If we isolate just outdoor hard only, it's even better for Schoolkate. 50% win rate for him, which is very, very good. And a service points won and return points won total of 99. Hijikata, just a 33% win rate and a total of 91. So very big lead for Schoolkate on those stats. And for me, Schoolkate is one of those players that he tends to play better. He tends to play his best stuff against the better players. He beat João Fonseca and Sonego. I was there. We bet that one, didn't we? Schoolkate against Sonego at the US Open. That Fonseca at Masters 1000, Sonego at the US Open on hard courts last summer. So he's got that ability, and he's been very competitive against top 50 ranked opponents, which Hijikata hasn't. Schoolkate's won 2 of his last 4. Hijikata's lost 15 of his last 17 main level matches against top 50 ranked opponents. And the 2 wins, one was against Clay Court or Ugo Carabelli on a hard court, and the other one was a final set tiebreak win here over Brandon Nakashima. Lost all the rest, and he lost them convincingly. He's lost in straight sets in 13 of those last 17 matches against top 50 opponents. So Schoolkate has shown he has got the ability to beat the better ranked players. Hijikata certainly hasn't. And the stats, again, will bear that out. If you look at what they've done, these two, against the current top 50 at main level, Schoolkate, 30% win rate and a service points won and return points won total of 95. Hijikata, 15% win rate and a total of 88. So all the numbers point me towards Schoolkate. The only thing that would make Hijikata favourite here is his better recent form, if you like, but it's not fabulous form. He won the Playford Challenger at the end of November, and then he beat Adam Walton in Brisbane. Adam Walton's not playing well at the minute. He just scraped by a qualifier yesterday, 7-6 in qualifying, should I say. And Schoolkate lost to Duckworth last week, but Duckworth played really well. So this just seems a very short-term vision to me. It just seems like people are saying Hijikata's playing better, he's going to win. Not for me. Both massively motivated. Schoolkate, I think he's got a very decent chance. Plus 148, is that?
Yeah, 148.
I think that's decent value, yeah. Schoolkate for me.
And obviously the home man as well. Support will be for Schoolkate as well.
Well, they're both Aussies, aren't they? Both playing in, they'll get similar levels of support, I guess. But yeah, both motivated, both want to go well.
I thought Schoolkate was from Adelaide. I might be wrong.
I don't think he is, no.
Oh, okay, I've got that right. I thought he was from.
I think he's from Perth, actually.
Okay.
Schoolkate. Hijikata, I believe, is from either Sydney or Melbourne. I forget which.
So, both going to be supported, but Schoolkate at plus 148 is the value for us, with Sean's pick there, an official play. You have a bit of time for that match. That match is not till tomorrow evening, so Monday night, early hours of Tuesday morning, and there currently is 37 markets available on the BetRivers app. And if you want to live stream that match from the comfort of your own home, you can do so on the BetRivers app. So make sure you get across there, get a bet on Schoolkate. He's plus 148. That price may not last given the form Sean was in last week. Let's move on to our second match, and this match you might have to be a little bit quicker to get to. This match is at 2:40 a.m. Monday morning, early hours of Monday, 2:40 a.m. Eastern Time. It's Ugo Humbert against Terence Atmane. We had an all-Australian match up there, and now we have an all-French affair. If you look at the odds here, Atmane is outside at plus 225, and Baez is minus 295. The spread is 3.5, and the total here is 22.5. Atmane had a bit of injuries concerns at the end of last year, but was playing some good tennis before those injuries come about. He hasn't been around much towards the end of last year on the main tour, but he got beat by Duckworth in the qualification at Brisbane. And Humbert, we tipped him last week, and he got beat by Cam Norrie. And he had chances to win that match, but he couldn't get the job done. Couldn't get the job done.
Didn't he just? 3 straight match points, 6-3 in the second set tiebreak for a 2-0 win. I think it should be a really interesting match, this. Two players with very similar styles, both extremely aggressive left-handers, as we know. They've not bet before. It should be really interesting. Watch this one. And Humbert's record against fellow left-handers isn't that great. He obviously lost that one to Norrie last week, but in his last 19 main level matches against left-handers, he's only won 5 of those matches in straight sets. So he's tended to if he's going to win, he's tended to have to do it the hard way. 8 of his last 9 best of 3 set matches against lefties have gone to a deciding set. And you can kind of see why. Humbert, if we look at his last 50 matches at main level against all players, he's got a 56% win rate and a service points won and return points won total of 101.4. In his 31 matches against left-handers at main level, the numbers drop to a 45% win rate and a total of 99.8. So it does seem like Humbert does struggle a little bit against left-handers. Shapovalov's beaten him at least once or twice. Atmane is certainly going to attack him. It's the only way these two know how to play. It should be a good one if you can get tickets for this. If you're in the locale, pop down. This will be a fabulous match. And Atmane's another one, a bit like Schoolkate, that tends to play his best in the big matches against the better players and sometimes struggles a lot at sort of qualies and challenger level. It seems to me like he just he's not up for that as much as he is against the tougher tests. So I think if you're betting on this one, and it would certainly be worth a watch. As I said, it'd be interesting. So over 2.5 sets plus 148 with BetRivers. That seems like the way to go here, especially given the way they're a bit inconsistent, these two. Atmane, he's either firing or he's not, and Humbert, very similar style. So I'd be expecting a long one here.
Bit of bad news for you. The line has moved a little bit. Plus 143 is the price for over 2.5 sets, but still decent. Still good, still value. Only marginal moved against us. Plus 143. Humbert against Atmane over 2.5 sets. Another official play?
It's just a lean, that one, but I think it's a very good lean.
You might want to look at the totals as well. 37 markets available on the BetRivers app as we currently record on that match. Remember, it's 2:40 a.m. And again, you can live stream that match on the BetRivers app. Our final match in Adelaide is another one, the early hours of Tuesday morning, so no rush really to get across for this one here, but the line movements may be significant. It's Brandon Nakashima, who did so well last week, set out his goal to be seeded for the Australian Open. He's done that. He's minus 345 against Damir Dzumhur, who's plus 260. Spread here is 4.5. Total is 21.5. There's set betting, a set and set spreads there on the graphic as well. But there's again 37 different markets available on the website. Dzumhur got beat in the first round of Hong Kong last week by Baez, and Nakashima obviously got all the way to the final in Brisbane, where he got beat by an informed Daniel Medvedev. I suppose motivation for Nakashima is going to be questionable because he set out what he had to do at the start of the year, and now he's come here and he's got an opponent that's going to be fully motivated. Just judging by the way this has fallen in the calendar, the minus 345 Nakashima looks an automatic fade for me.
Yeah, it's very risky, isn't it? It's a stretch just to assume that he's going to carry on that level. He played great in Brisbane. And as you said, he achieved the goal about being seeded for the AO. He'll be delighted about that. But now he's done all that. Is he going to want to go deep again the week before a major? There's not much time between the end of Adelaide and the start of Melbourne. No, it's not a million miles away, but it's not exactly around the corner. It's you've got to decide whether you want to do it. And for me, Nakashima, a big question mark. That Dzumhur's always a little bit of a tough guy to predict. Sometimes he shows up, sometimes he just doesn't. Lost, as you said, in round one last week to Baez. You would think that he'll want some matches under his belt before the Australian Open. That would be the obvious thing to say. And if he's on one of his good days, he's more than capable. He's got a pretty decent record, actually, perhaps surprisingly decent record against big servers. Last year alone, he beat Menchik, Quentin Halys, and Petchy Pericard. We beat all them last year, and all time, he's won 9 and lost 8 against the big servers in my database. He's actually beaten Quentin Halys 4 times, and he's won both his matches against Bublik as well. So this is not a guy that struggles against big servers. He is certainly got a disadvantage in terms of power off the ground. Nakashima, a more powerful player and a bigger server, but you've got to beat Dzumhur. If Zuma's in one of his stubborn moods, he's very hard to beat. We've seen him taking sets off Alcaraz. He's certainly got the ability to do it. So I'm just going to have a little half-point one here. This is a bit of a theory, so it's not a full point, but I do feel like Zuma's got a chance here. His motivation may well be higher, and if Nakashima's not on it, this could be a bit of a grind for him. And is he up for it? I'm not sure.
So half a point bet on Damir Dzumhur at plus 260. Again, it's the early hours of Tuesday morning. So there we have it. 1 lean, 2 official plays. All the bets we gave last week on the official plays, all plus money, all underdogs, all cashed. And we start with 2 plus money picks there. So hopefully we can do the same again. Now, there is a secondary tournament this week. It's another 250. Again, it's over in New Zealand and it's in Auckland, where I can imagine the weather conditions are slightly different from what they're going to expect in Adelaide, Sean.
Slightly cooler, not much though. I'll talk about the weather in a bit of detail in a minute because it's slightly complicated. But as far as the conditions are concerned, again, it's played on the same green set cushion surface as the Australian Open. It's not as quick generally as the Australian ones, Brisbane and Adelaide. It's a kind of a medium-paced hard court. It's averaged 79.3% holds and 71.6% first serve points won since it came back on the tour after a couple of years off for the COVID break. Strangely, it averages more tie-break matches than Adelaide, 43%. I'm not quite sure. That's a slight anomaly there. But over 10.5 games in set one is similar to Adelaide. 29% of those matches have gone over 10.5 in set one since the COVID break. So if you're betting that particular bet, you would want odds of plus 245 or thereabouts. But underdog winners, it's the number 1 ranked tournament on the tour if you're just looking at the last 2 editions. 47% of the underdogs have won in the last 2 editions. And if you go further back, the last 11 editions, 40% have won. So over the years, it's been a good tournament for underdogs. The issue here is sometimes a little bit difficult to define, but it does get very windy here at times, which can be a big factor. I believe is a big factor in some of those underdog winners. It can get incredibly windy. As far as the weather's concerned, it looks all right for the first few days, around about 25 degrees centigrade, so decent temperature. But again, 15 to 18 mile an hour winds first 3 days, and the rest of the week does look like it involves thunder and then rain. If you recall, they played a lot of these matches on their indoor courts in 2023 because it hammered it down for a lot of the week. That probably won't be required for the first 3 days, but it could potentially be required towards the end of the week. So, yeah, the conditions can be a bit tricky in Auckland, primarily because of the wind.
If we are looking for the trends to find a winner, Sean, I actually read through the graphic last time, which is your bit to do. Sorry, I got carried away. No, I'd rather you do it because you know you've done the research for me. So tell me what the trends to find a winner are for here.
Okay, so number 1 seeds don't do very well here. Again, perhaps not surprising because it is the week before a major. A lot of players not really into it, or just won a couple of matches to sort of tune themselves up for the bigger tournament. So no top seed since David Ferrer won it a couple of times in 2011 to 2013, or 3 times. No top seeds made the final since then. So it's a very long time ago. And 3 of the last 4 finalists have been qualifiers. We don't know who's going to qualify yet. I believe qualifying's not quite complete yet, is it? I think it's been completed overnight tonight. So keep your eyes on who qualifies. If you like the look of their draw, I wouldn't put anybody off betting 1 or 2 of the qualifiers. The last 5 winners of this tournament have all been priced between 18 to 1 and 100 to 1. Those are the key trends. And I would also throw in the fact that, in my opinion, the control of the ball is quite important here with the wind. Only Humbert has been what I would call a really attacking player to have won this tournament in recent times. The rest of them are guys that either play with a bit of topspin for the control or are very kind of steady players, like Bautista Agut won it a couple of times here. So just something else to bear in mind.
Yeah, let's have a look at some of these previous winners. Interesting there. No top number 1 seed has won it since 2011, 2013. The number 1 seed this time around is Ben Shelton. We'll come on to the odds in a minute. Let's have a look at those previous winners. Gael Monfils won it in 2025. Interestingly, that his partner, Elina Svitolina, just won the women's event in Auckland this morning. So he's probably going to be there for the week. I mean, he's at his age, but he's going to be there supporting her and hopefully trying to get a double there. Won it last year.
That'll be some achievement, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it will be. Alessandro Tabilo won it in 2024. Richard Gasquet won it in 2023. Hugo Humbert in 2020. Tennis Sanguine in 2019. Bautista Agut won it a couple of times in 2018 and 16. And Jack Sock in 2017. This is the projected draw. Ben Shelton is the number 1 seed. He is in the top half of the draw. And again, like the tournament in Adelaide, the top 4 seeds all get buys. So Ben Shelton will be through to the last 16. Sebastian Baez, who's in great form, he's the number 17. He will be playing him in the quarterfinals. Darderi will play Mickelson, and that makes up your top half of the draw. Cam Norrie, obviously, brought up here, considers this his home. I think Jakub Mensik is in the bottom half of the draw. And Borges and Casper Ruud makes up the draw. These are the odds. Shelton, the number 1 seed, is the favourite. Bet Rivers plus 430. Casper Ruud, $5. Mensik, $6. Cam Norrie plus 750. Alex Mickelson, 850, Nuno Burgess, 12, and Petchi Perregard, big server, 14 to 1. Jensen Brookby, 14 to 1. Sebastian Baez, great form, 16 to 1, hasn't lost this year. Luciano Tarderi, 18 to 1. Tabilo, former champion, 25. Kovacevic, 20. Giron, 20. And Echeverry, 28 to 1. That is the draw. Looking at the draw, Sean, is there a lopsidedness of it? I think the bottom half's slightly easier, would you say, than the top half, but I don't think there's much in it.
No, there's not a lot in it at all. It's a tricky draw, this one. Shelton is not someone that's done well this time of the season, like the really early weeks, both in Australia and here. Lost to Taro Daniel, I think, here 1 year, Shelton. How fit is he with that arm, the left arm that's causing him a lot of problems towards the end of last season? He looked like he was getting better towards the end of last season, but I wouldn't be betting him here at that sort of price. It just looks tough. That just the situation for Shelton coming in, the way he plays, the doubts over his arm, his form. He's another player that you think will save his best for the majors. The pre-major week, it would certainly worry me about someone like Ben Shelton. And for me, Q2, the quarter just below where Shelton is, looks the one for me for value. I've got a player here that I like the look of it as far as the prices are concerned. That man is Marcos Giron, 28 to 1 with Bet Rivers. I think that's real good value. He played really well last week. He was the only player to take a set off Sasha Bublik last week in the run to the semi-finals, and that's the reason he's playing this week, is because he's got a special exemption. If you get to the semis, you get a special exemption for the next week. He didn't have a good season last year, and his ranking has dropped, but now he's got another chance. As I said, played really well last week, beat Muller, Alexandra Muller last week. He's got Muller again the very next tournament, so an obvious chance for him to win that one. And there's other interesting things about this as well. He's also got a 2-0 head-to-head record against Alex Mickelson, who played a few matches last week, and Mickelson went reasonably deep last week. So there's an obvious chance there for Giron, having beaten him twice before. And if he does come through that Q2, which doesn't look that difficult, you got Darderi. All right, Tableau won this tournament before, but that was the year when him and I think it was Taro Daniel both made the final as qualifiers at crazy prices. Difficult to see Tableau doing that again. Navone you wouldn't fancy on a hard court, really, or Ugo Carabelli. So that, if you can take Mickelson out of that quarter, and obviously he's got to beat Muller in the first round, I think that's a very, very winnable quarter for Giron in the form that he showed last week. And then he would potentially play Shelton. And he's played Shelton twice, one win apiece, but the service points won and return points won totals, if you combine both those two matches, 106 to 94 in favour of Giron. So certainly got a chance against Shelton if Shelton gets that far. So I think 28 to 1 is pretty big on Marcus Giron there.
Yeah, Marcus Giron, 28 to 1. Good form last week, played really well, and great head-to-head record there. And the fade for the number one seed makes, I think Ben Shelton is the class act in it, but plus 430. I mean, a week before the Australian Open, that just seemed
too short.
A very dangerous play.
And given that all the winners, as I said, the last five, I think, have all been priced between 18 to 1 and 100 to 1. That's not a surprise given where it is in the calendar.
Is that your only play? We're only going to just go for that one?
Yeah, I mean, the bottom half for me looks really tricky. I mean, I've bet Cam Norrie several times to win this tournament, as you can probably imagine, given that it is his home tournament. But he really did choke it against Gasquet a couple of years ago. He was miles ahead in the final and managed to find a way to lose, which is off. I think I bet him again last year, and he was sick. He got sick in the first round. He did play, but he was in no condition to play. So he's massively motivated. You would expect him to beat Gaston, but then he's got to play Menchik. How is Menchik going to approach this week? If he's on his best form and he's up for it, then he'll be tough to beat, but a very short price. Casper Ruud, again, you question, is he up for it? Is he just wanting to have a couple of matches, or is he really going all out to win the title? I'm not sure. Then you got, I think, the winner of Borges against Echeverry, which is basically a 50-50. I think whoever wins that could potentially go well, but I wouldn't be confident in picking the winner of that match.
No. So just the one bet. We're going for Marcus Giron at 28 to 1 with Bet Rivers. The tournament starts later on this evening, early hours of Monday morning, so make sure you get across to the Bet Rivers website. Actually, it starts at 5:30 p.m. I'm looking at the qualifications, 5:30. The first round is actually 6:40. So you haven't really got much time to get on these bets, so make sure you get on that outright market as soon as you can. Obviously, a busy night of NFL tonight with the playoff matches as well, so make sure you find a way to get to Bet Rivers, download the app, and get on that price before the action starts. Now, we have one match, and one match only for you, and that is tomorrow. It's the early hours of the morning. It's 1:10 a.m. Eastern Time, and this is the match between Emilio Nava and Sebastian Baez. Now, I mentioned in the preview there how well Sebastian Baez has played. I mean, he's played 3 matches at the United Cup, and he's won all 3. Beat Munar, beat Fritz, Viva Rinky, and played exceptionally well. He holds a 1-0 head-to-head record win against Baez, which was on clay, which is arguably both their favourite surface, and he won 6-3, 6-3 in the Challenger last year. And yet, he's the underdog with Bet Rivers tonight. Not quite sure if I can understand that. Nava is minus 127. He has the advantage of playing 2 qualification matches to get to this stage. Baez is plus 102, total 22.5, and a whole host of specials available on the Bet Rivers app, and you can live stream this match as well. But all the matches you've given me today, Sean, Sebastian Baez's dog here is the one that I'm a little bit struggling to see given the form he showed.
Yeah, I just think this is a good price on Baez just in this moment in time where we're at, where he's at. It feels like if Nava's going to win this, he's going to have to do it in straight sets and just crush him with the power. He's a very powerful player, Nava, but he does tend to make a few mistakes as well. It's a bit feast or famine with him. So it feels like either Nava's going to play an incredibly clean match and win it in straight sets, or Baez will just make him play one more ball all the time and often enough to win the match. And that's the way I see this match panning out. And the way that Baez has started this season, I do like his chances here. As you said, he's beaten some really good players in the United Cup. Okay, you could say Taylor Fritz is not fully fit, but Baez had a shocking record against Fritz, and he came from a set and a break down to beat Taylor Fritz. Also, Wawrinka, who's playing really well, and Jean Munar, who had an excellent season on on hard courts. If you'd have said to Sebastian Baez, right, you're starting the season, you're beating Fritz, you're beating Wawrinka, you're beating Munar, you'd be absolutely delighted. On a hard court, okay, on clay, he might stand a chance against them three, but
and then tell him he's starting underdog against Emilio Nava.
And then tell him he's dog against Nava. Yeah, I mean, Nava's a good player, but I've bet him a few times, but everyone's got their price, and Baez has shown that he can blunt the bigger hitters. Fritz and Wawrinka particularly. The guys that have got the power there, and Munar's no slouch either these days in terms of power. So I think with Baez, I think it's all in the minds with him. A lot of it anyway. The rest is about fitness. He hasn't been fit for a little while, Baez, but now he's fit. Now he's confident. And there's a few more factors to this. He also won his only hardcourt title, his only ever hardcourt final, actually. That was the week before a major in Winston-Salem. So he's certainly got a history of putting the shift in before a major. And the other two factors, which are pretty big factors as well, are number one is the wind. And the second one is the time of this match. This isn't going to get on until around 8 p.m. local time, depending on how quickly the match before it finishes. So slow, the slowest conditions of the day, which obviously would favour Baez. 15-mile-an-hour winds as well, which makes it difficult to go for the lines like someone like Nava does tend to do. I just think it's a big ask for Nava to play a clean enough match in these conditions with wind against an informed Baez to be minus 127. Not sure. I'd probably have these prices the other way around, actually. So on that basis, Baez at plus money, I think, is decent.
Yep, have to agree. Sebastian Baez done me a favour already. I bet him to win a couple of those gap matches in the United Cup himself, and I really impressive what I saw. Man confidence, very confident as well. And in not quick conditions, I think that's another in the wind as well. Baez at plus 102 is a decent bet I like as well. So that is our final official play, and that is it for Betting Weekly Game Bet Match on this Sunday. All wrapped up. Before we go, Sean, give us your list of official plays for this week across the two tournaments in Adelaide and Auckland.
Yeah, so the one I just mentioned, Sebastian Baez. Do you want me to do Adelaide first, or?
No, you do it whichever way you want to go, mate.
Okay, so Sebastian Baez, I just said to beat Nava, plus 102, that is with Bet Rivers. Just taking the one each way in Auckland, it's pretty tricky draw that for me, which is Marcos Giron each way at 28 to 1. Moving back over to Adelaide, the match bets, there was 1 point win on Schoolkate, Tristan Schoolkate, plus 148, I think he was with Bet Rivers, to beat Rinky Hijikata. And a small bet, taking a bit of a punt on Damir Dzumhur, just a half a point bet on him. I believe he was plus 260 with Bet Rivers to beat Nakashima.
So there it is. There are our official plays. Hopefully,
did I do the outright? Sorry, I forgot to do the outright.
You didn't do the outright. You didn't give the outright.
Two outrights then, yeah. Sorry, 2 quarter point each ways then on the outrights in Adelaide. Both big prices. Miami Kekmanovic 28 to 1, and Marton Fucsovics at 40 to 1.
So there you have it. They are our picks for this week. Hopefully we can have a similar week to what we started with last week. I think we were about 5 units up on the week last week, something like that. What a great start we had. WTA as well, great start on there. And there is a WTA show available now, Betting Weekly WTA, with myself and Tim Dennis on the tennis. We're looking at to the 2 WTA events this week. And also myself and Sean will be back on Tuesday and Wednesday with more Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. And Tim and I will be back on Monday looking at the best bets on the WTA Tour for round 1 matches in those tournaments as well, which are in, where are these? But they're in Hobart and Brisbane, isn't it? I think it's Brisbane. No, it's Hobart and...
I think they're in Adelaide as well, aren't they?
Adelaide. I get really confused.
It's a joint tournament, isn't it, Adelaide?
Adelaide, Brisbane, I get all confused. Anyway, we're in Hobart and Adelaide there as well. So... we've got you covered. If you like the world of tennis, you like tennis betting, Bet Rivers is your home for tennis betting and we are your home for tennis betting content. Please hit the subscribe button as well. I know lots of you watch this and don't hit the subscribe button, but it really is important. We saw loads of you subscribe to the channel at the start of last week, and hopefully you'll come along for the ride for the whole year. Tennis isn't just for Christmas and the New Year, it's for the whole year as well. So hopefully you join us as well. Sean, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Have a good day. I know you're going to go and watch your team West Brom in the FA Cup action. Yeah. They're playing Swansea. What's the score, 0-0?
It's 0-0 after 24 minutes, yeah.
Oh dear. Well, hopefully you get the win there. Hopefully we get the win as well. Take care, and we'll speak to you all again here on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match.